your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Agree to Disagree here on TheNewAmericanMedia.com. I'm your host, Brian Engelman. I never encourage you to follow me on my personal Twitter. So instead, I'll encourage you to follow me on the company Twitter. That's at American_media_. Subscribe to youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Like our page on Facebook. Do a search for The New American Media and like the page. And check out our homepage, TheNewAmericanMedia.com. So many scandals, so many impeachable offenses, so little time. It's Friday the 13th and a full moon. Could the real false flag occur tonight? I don't know. But that's why we're here to talk about it. Thanks for joining us, and we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. So many big stories have been going on. This border, our southern border, I got to take off my shoes, but we have tens of thousands of unaccompanied minors just coming into our country. I don't mean people like working in coal mines or steel, like gold mines or something. Minors, like children. Yeah, just come on in. Overload the system, Cloward and Piven. Breaking news, the IRS is claiming that they've lost 2 years of lowest learner emails regarding the IRS. I'm telling you, this cover-up with the Obama administration and the Eric Holder Justice Department is making Watergate look like, I don't know, a third-rate burglary, kind of like it was. So damaging, so impeachable. Don't forget about the VA. Yeah, the VA has been pushed off of the headlines for a little bit. Bergdahl is back. Let's throw a parade. Wait, he's a deserter. All right, well, at least we rescued him. No, we didn't rescue him. We traded 5 really, really bad guys for him. Well, he's back. Vegas had that weird shooting last week. Try to pin it on the Patriot movement. You notice that. Clive and Bundy supporters. They used a Gadsden flag. Wow. Iraq is falling into chaos. Absolute chaos. Should we have gone there in the first place? Okay, fine. We can have that chat too. But didn't we withdraw all of our troops early against the advice of our generals? Now you have ISIS there. That's not going well. Eric Cantor booted out. I hope all sitting members of Congress lose their positions. Maybe keep 5 or 10 of the really, really good ones. The ones that really haven't totally betrayed us yet. Hey, you know that throw the bums out sentiment? Yeah, it's growing. So we're going to bring in Blake the Eccentric Walley to talk about all of these things and more. You can check out his radio show. You know what? I'm just going to let him tell you all about his radio show and stuff. Once we get him on the horn, that is.
Hello.
Blake, you are live on the air, sir. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Brian.
Hey, I was just getting ready to start telling everybody about what you're doing and everything. I said, I'll just let Blake do it. So please introduce yourself. Give us your dossier, would you? Papers, please. Papers.
Sure. My name is Blake Walley, or Blake the Eccentric, and I am an activist/radio host, rabble-rouser. I have a website, eccentricperspective.com. I also do a radio show 3 days a week on Freedomizer Radio called The Eccentric Perspective, which you can find on Blog Talk. You can also find on iTunes by looking for Eccentric Perspective. And, I don't know, probably more, but, so I've been doing this for a few years, and, It's always the news is always exciting, and since the mainstream media doesn't do their job, I've taken it upon myself to help put out the news, maybe with a different view. And so sometimes I join Brian on his show as well. So, and it's been a very exciting week of news.
Yes, it has, and it's been so much that I kind of want to split it up into segments. I always claimed that I want to do this, and I rarely do, but I really feel like we should. Something last week that happened, because we took a bit of a break, and it was fantastic disconnecting for just a moment and trying to recharge the battery. But this whole Bowe Bergdahl thing happened last week, and we have not had a chance to cover it. So I guess in your best words and best interpretatory skills and abilities, Blake, can you maybe get us caught up to speed on what this prisoner swap deal thing was?
So we had apparently a guy left behind in Afghanistan, and apparently was a deserter, was not happy with the situation that he was in, not so enthusiastic about the how he was being used or what the war was really about, decided to leave his post, and was for, I guess, pretty much AWOL or a deserter, however you want to say it, including writing some unpleasant things about his role and how he felt about the American government, which I can't necessarily, disagree with all of it, but I mean, you don't go and join the enemy. That doesn't make any sense. You find your way to get out and speak out if you want to. But anyway, he did not go about it in any kind of proper way, and that was controversial. And then it was decided that we would, go get him, I guess, which is, we don't want to leave anybody behind. The problem was that they traded him basically with the enemy for, but the problem was they traded him for 5 extreme terrorists, high-ranking, high-level guys out of Guantanamo Bay, and put on a big production in the Rose Garden with the soldier's family. There was going to be a big welcome parade and party over in Idaho, where he was from, and it was going to be this big deal. And in light of the the horrible VA scandal that was really making Obama look bad, and then all of a sudden they got this big production going on. We could all put aside our worries and celebrate the troops and bringing home one of our own, and then the fallout happens, and then we realize that, no, this guy was a deserter, a traitor, AWOL, something's not right. Why would they do this? Why would they negotiate with terrorists? Why would they trade this guy who's really, a deserter for 5 high-level terrorists, like leadership guys? None of it really made any sense, and of course there was a big fallout. They didn't really know what to do, and then all of a sudden, at least three huge stories broke out this week. Just when it seems like the president is under fire about as badly as he's ever been in this in his regime here. All of a sudden you have 3 huge stories that broke this week, almost kind of putting the Bergdahl story on the back burner. But I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to wrap up with the
Bergdahl back burner. Bergdahl back burner.
Right.
Weird triple alliteration there. No, I just want to kind of wrap this up because the story is, by the way, I don't know if you've seen this one about the creepy father. Have you seen this one? The Bergdahl father leaving a pair of twins visibly upset and teary-eyed?
Did not catch that one.
Did you happen to see the one about the Bergdahl tweet from the father?
Yes, he was. Since his son was held captive by the Taliban or some offshoot of the Taliban, he was kind of criticized for kind of taking up some of the language and maybe growing a beard. I don't know if that was I don't know if he always had the beard or if he did that to be in, solidarity with his son, just as a support. So I'm not really sure. I guess I never really dug into it that far. He did put out some controversial tweets. I think he took one of them down, in fact.
Yeah, I have this one. I have this one here. I guess I'll retweet it. Bergdahl's father's deleted tweet, a smoking gun. It says, "I am still working to free all Guantanamo prisoners. God will repay for the death of every Afghan child. Amen."
So I don't know
whoa.
if he's just saying that to, it's very strange. There are some details of that story because people obviously knew that. Oh, the administration obviously knows something, and they're not sharing.
Wait, so maybe like Bergdahl's dad is being blackmailed right now, or they'll kill his son or torture his son if he doesn't put out tweets like this or something?
That there could have been some deal in the works behind the scenes. I have no idea. I mean, the Congress was left in the dark, which was another major aspect of that story, is that it's supposed to, by law, go through Congress, and they have 30 days to look at it, and then they made a story that said, oh, it looked like he was in poor health, so we had to act now, and then it comes out that, no, he wasn't in poor health at all. So, I mean, they kept spinning the story, and none of it really makes any sense.
Well, because we're not supposed to be negotiating with terrorists. Because what this does is it essentially puts a bounty on every American traveler all across the world anywhere. If you can get 5 commanders out for one idiot, all right, I'm calling him an idiot. I mean, based on the reports, if he deserted his family and his brothers and his group and joined with the enemy, okay, they're saying he was kept in solitary confinement for 2 years. Well, what are you expecting when you go to the enemy? And they're saying that he got kicked out of the Coast Guard. He had some mental breakdown in the Coast Guard, and he got kicked out of there, so they threw him into the military. Of course, you're not stable, so why don't you go across the country in the military? But I mean, if these things are true, we're trading a guy that's nowhere near a hero. He's a damaged individual that needs help, obviously, and I hope he gets that help. Or if he's found to be a traitor that caused American deaths, I hope he's hung. But we're not supposed to be negotiating with terrorists, Blake. Would you agree that puts more Americans in danger for future events now that the Obama administration has started this precedent?
Oh, absolutely. Exactly. Why? Because now they set the bar. You can get that much. One traitor is worth 5 commanders. So, yeah, how is that going to help in the negotiations next time around? None of it made any sense. And then another angle, there was perhaps 5 or 6 other soldiers that were killed when they went looking for this guy several times. It totally threw the whole mission. Totally screwed that up. Then he had all of his soldiers coming out afterwards. They were ordered not to even speak to anybody about it. A lot of them violated their orders and spoke out against the press anyway to tell the truth about him, and nobody really backed him up, even though they were maybe friends with him at the time and thought he was a little weird or whatever. But the fact is, he basically left them high and dry, and they went after him, changed their mission, and people were killed searching for him. Yeah, it was a big deal, and it did not make our country safer. There was no reason to make that deal. My guess is that they maybe tried to do that thinking that it was going to be a distraction from the VA scandal and make the troops like Obama again or something. I don't know, but then it ended up making it worse. So there was so many just questions about that, and it was such a hot story. But anyway, we'll pause there. Like I said, it went on the back burner this week.
Yeah, I could say this.
We didn't get a chance to cover it.
Yeah, we didn't have a chance to cover it. I know that you did, but I was a little out of the loop, and I just wanted to just comment on this a little bit. And when I typed in Bergdahl tweet, this story popped up, and I hadn't heard this. This came out about an hour and a half ago on The Blaze. It says, the father of Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl was previously accused of stalking a pair of twin sisters and was caught peeping into their windows while they were in the shower, according to a report in the Daily Mail. 31-year-old twin sisters Lacey and Allie Hillman went to authorities in 2011 and accused Robert Bergdahl of a series of harassing incidents, the Daily Mail reported, citing police documents. The sisters told police that Bergdahl, a married UPS driver, drove by their home, quote, several times a day over several months and left creepy notes for them, according to the Daily Mail. The alleged stalking started in June of 2011, 2 years after his son was taken hostage by the Taliban. In one incident detailed in a Haley Police Department report obtained by the Daily Mail, Bergdahl once banged on their door and accused Allie of cheating on him. Quote, "What are you two-timing me, bitch?" I'm sorry, it says B dash dash dash, whatever. What are you two-timing me, bitch? Yeah, I mean, that's not what is it. End quote, he allegedly asked. Allie then slammed the door shut as Robert grabbed the handle, the police report said, according to the Daily Mail, which added that Bergdahl just stood there as she yelled, "Bye-bye." The report stated that the two had never really talked or been in any sort of relationship, according to the Daily Mail. Days later, Bergdahl allegedly visited Lacey's place of work, stoking more fears. Ultimately, the two went to police, visibly upset and teary-eyed, with more details when he peered into their home and was asked to speak with Lacey when she was wearing only a bathrobe, the Daily Mail reported. Lacey yells for Robert to leave and also motions for him to do so, as she's only in a towel and wet from the shower, the report said. According to Lacey, a minute passed while Robert shook his head on the other side of the closed door, and he eventually left while throwing his hands up in the air. The girls reportedly said they had no relationship with him and were confused as to why he was obsessing over them. Police then interviewed Bergdahl and told him to stay away from the twins. The girls told the news outlet that he complied and was very respectful afterwards. Finally here, Bergdahl has been under fire after he spoke Pashto during a White House press conference and appeared to send out tweets earlier this month suggesting support for the release of several Guantanamo Bay prisoners. His son Bowe arrived in the U.S. early Friday morning after he was released through a controversial prisoner exchange. So, I mean, he's back now. He's in the United States, and he's expected to be connected with his family after spending some time recovering in Germany. So, this whole story is really, really, really weird. It's almost like, have you seen Wag the Dog, Blake? I'm sure I've referenced it to you many times.
Oh, yeah.
Good old Shoe, the Woody Harrelson character. You got to bring home Shoe.
Right.
Bring home Shoeman. And it turns out, just like in Wag the Dog, well, good old Shoe's kind of a dirtball. If you recall correctly, he went in and he raped somebody, and then they had to kill him, and then they had to say that he died in some sort of accident and had a hero's welcome. I mean, there are a couple similarities to good old Shoe from Wag the Dog, aren't there?
That would never happen in real life, Brian. Don't be such a tinfoil hat wearer.
Ah, nicely played, good sir. Nicely played. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, what else are we supposed to take away from the Bowe Bergdahl thing? Do you think this was something that was intended to boost ratings and deflect from the VA, and it just horribly backfired, or did they intend for it to backfire to be even more of a distraction from some? I can't keep track of all of the impeachable offenses and blunders from this administration. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, Bush had his fair share of gaffes and bad moments, and we can say if the Iraq War never should have been started. But this is just everything. The NSA, the National Defense Authorization Act, the IRS, the Veterans, the VA. We have Bergdahl in prisoner swaps. We have Iraq fallen to hell. We have our southern border wide open. I mean, what are we to make of this, Blake?
Well, I guess they're setting a precedent that they can do whatever they want. They're above the law, and it's really crazy. They control reality, and until we stop them somewhere, this is only going to get worse. And it definitely got worse this week.
All right, well, let's...
And like he was on the defense last week, big time. Well, last few, I should say, between the Bergdahl and the VA thing. Things were really looking bad for Obama, so they really needed a distraction. Now, I'm not saying that any of the stories that did break, they could have been a coincidence, but something seems a little bit suspicious. And yeah, it goes into that Wag the Dog thing. You need a distraction, so what do you do? And, well, lo and behold, three things. Like I said, Bergdahl went on the back burner this week.
Let's hold on the Bergdahl back burner, because I'm going to split this up
Right.
into a different segment. But another person that had a bad week. This is a bit more of a minor story that I'm not going to split up. Eric Cantor lost. I mean, this is huge. A very high-ranking member of Congress losing in a primary. I mean, what's your takeaway there?
Pretty awesome. People are really upset at the establishment, and Cantor was one of those guys. People get upset with Congress, and that we're talking about this lawless administration, or you're talking about Obama getting doing bad things and getting away with it. Well, it should be up to the leadership and of the Republicans in Washington to do something about it, and people are very upset at John Boehner and his number two, which would be his former number two, I guess, Eric Cantor, who never really, they seem to be very establishment Republicans, big corporate types that never really seemed interested in doing the right thing or, doing what the people want, and mostly in it to enrich things for themselves. And people are fed up, and this unknown Tea Party guy won. So I don't know. People said he wasn't very well known, and maybe this people just went to the voting booths, and maybe they didn't know who that Dave Bratt guy very well, but they just like, what, I want to vote against Cantor. I'm sick of these people. It's time to send the establishment a message. Time to get some fresh people in Washington that actually care about representing the people and not in it for themselves. And definitely Cantor was one of those typical aristocrats, and he got voted out, and that's awesome news.
I mean, what was that? The part of what Dave Bratt was saying is that his whole campaign spent as much as Eric Cantor did on steak dinners.
That's true.
And if you look at
it more, Eric Cantor spent more on steak dinners than he spent on his entire campaign. Yeah, totally insane.
Yeah.
But that's the disconnect.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what this leads to in 2014 here, as the midterm elections come up. I'm really hoping that this is going to be something similar to the 2010. So, in 2010, I mean, it was just a sweep. That was where Barack Obama said, "We got shellacked." Well, hopefully you get shellacked like the Miami Heat, because you deserve it. You're not doing anything right, or you're not doing enough right. We'll say that, to be fair. But I'll tell you what, we'll split this up on the other side. When we get back, we're going to talk more with Blake the Eccentric Walley to talk about, where are we going to go to the IRS next? Do you want to go to, because I guess you have Vegas, Iraq, and the border children as one story, correct?
Kind of, because in a way, I feel like it's almost, and I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat, and I'm going to say between the Bergdahl and the VA, they need the
Hold on, wait.
needed a distraction.
Hold on. Before needing a distraction, you put on the tinfoil hat. It sounded like that. I thought it was going to sound like you had to crinkle it on. What kind of sound effect was that? Did I miss something?
All right, no, I'm just getting pumped here. I don't know. No, I'm just gonna go out on the limb, and I'm gonna say that they needed some distractions, and that I'm kind of suspicious of the timing of three major events. I mean, it's possible you're talking about the border as one that maybe was just brought into the light this week. It's hard. I don't know if it's necessarily like the dam broke. And of course, it was pushed a lot by Drudge.
Wait, damn broke?
All of a sudden happened.
Isn't that what Hillary Clinton said? She's damn broke when her and her husband left the White House?
Oh yeah, she is under fire for that. Yeah, that's another excellent story this week.
Can we throw that one in here, because these other ones deserve their own segment? But that was an awesome segue. Damn broke, just like Hillary. Bump. Thank you. I'll be here all night. Enjoy the steak. Hey, Cantor's Steakhouse. No, but so what was Hillary up to? She's obviously promoting a book and testing the water for a potential 2016 presidential run. But, I mean, it's kind of ludicrous to talk about how she was struggling paying the mortgage on her houses. What was it, like the year they made $12 million or something? I mean, Recap that for me, because I followed it, but I don't have anything in front of me right now.
Yeah, she was in an interview with, I think it was, Diane Sawyer of ABC News. And this is, again, like Cantor, here's the disconnect of our ruling aristocratic oligarch class here.
I gotta say though,
American royalty. Yes.
To interrupt you on American royalty and oligarchs, I love how you say Eric. You make him sound like a villain. We have to march up to the mountain and defeat Cantor.
Right. Yeah, he reminds me, and I know it's probably an obscure movie for some, not totally an obscure movie, but it's been a long time, so people probably don't remember. I've always compared him to, I think his name was Miles Pender from the movie, James Belushi, when he has that alternate life. I'm trying to remember the Mr. Destiny, where he gets to kind of transform and he goes from kind of a working class guy to becoming the CEO when he changes one moment of his life. When he's the little guy, then he's got this horrible boss named Miles Pender. It reminds me exactly of the Eric Cantor, but I'm sure only 10% of the people out there actually know what I'm talking about. But if you do, I hope you know what I'm saying. But, he is just, he's one of those out-of-touch types. He's been in Congress a long time, and, he's in it for himself. He's a big business guy. Well, that's usually what it is. The Democrats are big government, and the Republicans are big business. And he was one of those types, and, we sent him a message, but they're totally out of touch with the rest of the people, and, of course, Hillary Clinton also... which became very apparent, and she's really, we've all had a good laugh at her expense this week after her big gaffe on the Diane Sawyer show. Maybe she just, I don't know, they really think she's in that bubble, or she really just thinks people are stupid. I don't know where she even would come up with something like that. It's just so completely ridiculous. But... I don't remember where I was, Brian. Go ahead.
No, you were
Mr. Destiny.
You were at Mr. Destiny. The story begins on the strangest day of Larry Burroughs, played by James Belushi's life, consisting of a series of comic and dramatic misadventures. Larry is a businessman, having just turned 35. He lives in an incomplete small house in a suburb of a nameless U.S. city with his loyal and supportive wife, Ellen, played by Linda Hamilton. Larry looks forward to having a romantic dinner with Ellen to celebrate his birthday that night, but she tells him that she may not make it due to her union meeting. Larry blames all of his life's problems on the fact that he struck out during a key moment of a high school baseball game 20 years earlier, which cost his team from winning and left him an outcast among his friends and teammates. Every day, Larry wishes he had done things differently and hit that baseball. Things in Larry's life turn from bad to worse when he gets fired by his reprehensible supervisor, Niles Pender, played by Hart Bachner, after discovering a scheme to sell the company under the nose of its owners to a group of naive Japanese investors. As the defeated Larry leaves the office after cleaning out his desks, he drives home through a rough part of the city when his car, an old Ford LTD station wagon, stalls out in a dark alley. Suddenly, the pink lights of the Universal Joint, which is a bar, come on. Larry goes inside to call a tow truck and tells bartender, see, when you had to go in places to use a tow truck? You just have a cell phone. And tells bartender, played by Michael Caine, his troubles. He reviews the day he just had to Mike and tells him that he wishes he'd hit that last pitch out of the park. After which, Mike fixes him a drink called, quote, spilled milk. Yeah!
Ruined it for you. All right, go ahead.
I've never seen this. Larry leaves the bar, walks
Really?
home. No, I've never seen it.
Wow. All right.
There's 100 movies you haven't seen. Like, which one do I always bust your chops on?
I know there's a few that I should have seen that I have not seen, but I know I can't remember offhand though. Oh, it was Young Guns or something, I think.
Oh, that's at least one. Yeah, we're out at the Bundy Ranch, and you haven't seen Young Guns? It's about cattle rustling. Come on.
Parts of it, yeah.
How have you not seen that? That was a classic. Anyway, Larry leaves the bar, walks home, and discovers someone else living in his house, which is now fixed up. Previously, his yard and driveway were muddy and unfinished. Mike appears as a taxi driver and drives him to his new home, which is a mansion in Forest Hills, explaining that he did in fact hit that last pitch and won the game. Mike more or less tells Larry that he's a type of guardian angel known as Mr. Destiny, who grants life-altering wishes to those select few who wonder what their lives would be like if they made a different life-altering choice. And I'm going to stop the IMDb thing there. It was basically just to get to what's his name? Niles Pender.
Niles Pender.
Ooh, I hate that guy. So Niles,
Yeah, he looks so. It reminds me so much of that guy.
Can you do a side by side? Can you do like a little graphic thing? Niles Pender from Mr. Destiny and Eric Cantor.
The problem is, I don't think Instant Netflix has had Mr. Destiny on, and so the couple times I tried to look it up just so I could see if I could make that comparison, I can't, and then I'm not going to exactly. I'm not going to put it on my queue just for just to see how close it is to Eric Cantor, because I don't really know how much people even remember that movie. It's been a while, so it's probably not something I can really do at this time. But
Blake,
hopefully somebody got the reference.
I'm looking at him right here. You just do a search. I'm looking Niles.
You got to see the mannerisms. You got to see it when he's actually the boss and his. And the actual interactions that he had on the movie, and then it'll look a little bit better, because I would think, outside of the picture.
Okay. Well,
what year was that? That was a while ago. It was like probably early 90s or something.
Take a guess. I'll give you 3 guesses.
92.
Guess again.
93.
Not correct. Guess again.
94.
9-0.
Wow. All right. Wow, it was a while ago. All right.
I know, man. All right. Who won the World Series in 1990?
That would be, and I know that would be the Oakland A's, and it was the Reds. Damn it, what was it? 1990. 89 was the Dodgers over the A's. 91 was the Twins over the Blue Jays. 90 would have been, I think it was the Reds over the A's.
You're absolutely correct. Cincinnati Reds over Oakland A's, right? In four games. Hold on. Now are you pulling this up? Are you doing the research?
No, I told you I used to be a huge baseball fan, like encyclopedic for.
You just were encyclopedic. Who is the series MVP?
I'm gonna guess. I don't know. I want to say Danny Jackson, but I don't know if that's true.
Think pitcher.
He was pretty good. He had a great year that year. I think he might have even won the Cy Young. Jose Rio?
Yeah, Jose Rio. No, you really are encyclopedic. Very good work. I mean, I'm looking at Cincinnati Reds over Oakland Athletics 4-0, and it was like as you were mouthing all those words. Yeah, and you like you said, you played fantasy baseball, and you were just a huge Twins fan and a geek. I was a huge Indians fan in the 90s.
Cubs fan,
I'm sorry, Cubs fan. My bad. All right, well, good job. All thanks to Niles Pender. I hate that guy. Okay, well, here's what we'll do. We'll come back on the other side. We got to get into this IRS story because there's an update here, and I'm telling you that the Barack Obama Eric Holder cover-up of this IRS targeting scandal is making the White House, the Whitewater cover-up look like exactly what it was, a botched third-rate robbery of a hotel room. Just something completely insignificant. Like, this is getting ridiculous, and it is time that America stands up and says, you know what, we gave you a chance, and you violated all of our trust. The IRS being used as a weapon is something we are not going to tolerate, and we have to discuss that more on the other side. My name is Brian Engelman. We're listening to Agree to Disagree. Make sure you check online to find the recent show that we just did with NBA scout Zach Barris, talking about the Heat and the Spurs and the upcoming NBA draft and what the Cavs are going to do, and if LeBron is coming back to Cleveland. What he says is very interesting. Did you know that his kids, unconfirmed reports, trying to fully lock this down, that his kids have enrolled in Ohio schools for next year? Did you hear that one? I'm trying to track down and confirm if that's accurate, but that would be interesting if LeBron has actually made up his mind. But you can check out that sports story and all of our political coverage at thenewamericanmedia.com. Make sure you subscribe to youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. On Facebook, do a search for The New American Media with space in between and like our page. And on Twitter, we're at American_media_. Blake, on the other hand, can be heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific on FreedomizerRadio.com for his show Eccentric Perspective. You can follow him on Twitter at Eccentric99. He's always putting out good tweets, so make sure you add him to your news feed, add him to your list, And you can check out his homepage, eccentricperspective.com, and sign up for his podcast by searching Eccentric Perspective. We'll be back on the other side, and we're going to talk about this IRS story because it is out of control, I tells ya. Out of control, just like Niles Pender would say. Okay, maybe not, but in my mind, Niles Pender said it.
Your guide to the truth. The new AmericanMedia.com.